even if you don't have a day job, entrepreneurs are notorious for never turning work off. Am I right? It's always there. There's always something else that needs to be done. There's always something we could be doing better. And the list of the things that we want to accomplish just grows and grows and grows. It feels like they breed, our tasks breed. As soon as we finish one, we have 3 more that we have to do, which can be really, really frustrating when you're goal oriented, when you're kind of addicted to that feeling of checking things off the list, and it seems like that list only grows. Well, I'm just going to give you a quick tip today how to not get so overwhelmed with what's ahead of you, but to bring a little balance into your life, a little bit of just psychological self-care, because I'm all about self-care for entrepreneurs, and I'll share a little bit more about my story and why that's important to me at the end. But let's just dive into the good stuff first. I want to talk to you today about how you can look back in order to help you move forward. And I'm not actually talking about just reviewing metrics and reviewing what's working. And thank you so much for those who are joining, by the way. Welcome. So I'm not just talking about analytics and reviewing what's working and what's not, although that's very important. I'm talking more about from a mental and emotional standpoint. I think it's really, really critical if we're going to sustain a new business, especially once you hit kind of that 6, 12, 18-month mark where kind of the honeymoon phase has worn off from that entrepreneurship, and now it's just a bunch of hard work, and maybe you're not getting the results that you want to see yet. You've got to find a way to make this sustainable. You've got to find a way to celebrate what you've accomplished already in order to move forward. So here's just a really quick practical activity. Although the topic is self-care and that can feel a little fluffy, I want to actually give you really practical, actionable steps because that's how we think. So here's my quick little assignment for you. I want you to take a pen and paper. You can do it online as well. I do a lot of my lists online, but I think there's something magical about writing it on pen and paper. I want you to take a list, and I want you to make a list, but I want it to be a different kind of list. We're used to making those to-do lists, right? I want you to make a done list. And what I mean by that is I want you to pick a period of time and look back on all that you've accomplished. Now, at first, this is going to feel like a waste of time. But as you list out those things, thank you. I'd love for you to try it and then let me know kind of how it makes you feel and how it helps put things into perspective. And I think that's so often what we miss sometimes is as entrepreneurs is we get buried. We can't see the forest for the trees because we get buried and we lose that perspective of all that we've learned, all that we've done, and how much fortitude and strength and grit and determination it's taken to get us where we are. We're always focused on where we want to be next. We're always focused on where we are not yet. And I get that. I'm totally guilty of that as well. But if you take a period of time, say since the time that you began your business, so you might try from the start of your business, or you might choose to give it a shorter term. If you just feel like you're having a rough week and you don't feel like you accomplished anything, well, maybe look back and start to sketch out those things that you've done. And I'm actually going to suggest that you include personal stuff with this as well, because you only have one life. So anything that you've accomplished on a personal level, well, if you've also been running a business on the side with that, I mean, that's pretty seriously cool. Life always gets in the way, and life gets in the way of most people, which is why, most people don't have the strength or grit or determination to keep a business going. Kids get in the way, dogs get in the way, jobs get in the way, laundry gets in the way, which I have to do after this. Exactly, you know what I'm talking about. So I think it's really, really critical that we look back and we say, hey, I did all these things in my business on top of, running a household or holding down a full-time job and not getting fired at work, because that can be a difficult balance as well. So I suggest, if you've never done this before, I suggest maybe, taking some time to do this, looking back from the time period that you started your business. Just jot down some of the things that you've done. I mean, little things even. A year ago, like 18 months ago, I didn't know what a lead magnet was. And now, I have like millions of them, not millions, but I mean, I can't believe the things I didn't even know 12, 16, 18 months ago. And I think it's really important to recognize that. So the reason for doing this is going to do a couple of things. One, it's just going to put it in perspective how far you've already come, and it's going to remind you how much you are capable of doing in the future. So it might seem like, my dreams are out of reach, but if I realize like how much I didn't know last year, that's exciting to me, because now I get to look forward to next year. What am I going to know and learn at the end of 2016? How far am I going to be ahead of where I am now? And the only way I'm really going to be able to grasp that is to look back on what I've done in the past year, or the past however long it's been since I started my business. So give this a try. There's also there's a smaller level you can build this in if you use a to-do list app like Trello or OneNote. You can kind of go back and just see all the tasks that have been archived, and that can be just a quick reminder. I archive all of my tasks that have been completed about once a week, and so it's nice to just see that quick list and say, yeah, I really had a productive week. I think that's really good. So again, this is going to just give you some perspective, give you some hope, but it's also going to help you keep your entrepreneurial mojo, which is so important. And the reason it's going to do this is because the brain repeats activities in which the reward center is triggered. Yes, we don't want to keep doing something that we suck at. And if we're only focused on the things that we still have to do and still have to accomplish, and if we put way too much on our to-do list and get to the end of the day and feel like failures, we are not going to repeat that for very long, and our businesses will fail. But if we set reasonable goals and we realize how far we've come, that triggers the reward center in our brains, and we are much more likely to repeat something that we feel good about, something that we feel a sense of accomplishment about, something that we feel that reward attached to.